First Contact Protocol. The message arrived on a Tuesday. Dr. Elena Rice was half asleep in her lab at the International Space Communications Center when the alert shattered the pre-dawn quiet. As Earth's foremost xenolinguist, she had spent 15 years analyzing potential alien communication patterns. Now the monitors were lighting up with something undeniably artificial and undeniably alien. System confirms pattern recognition. 99% certainty of non-terrestrial origin, her AI assistant announced with infuriating calm. Elena's fingers flew across the holographic interface as she pulled up the signal metrics. Unlike the random noise of cosmic phenomena, this carried mathematical precision, prime numbers, geometric sequences, and something that resembled quantum encryption protocols, but far more advanced. "Contact the Security Council," she whispered. "We've got first contact." Within hours, observatories worldwide confirmed what Elena already knew. A vessel of enormous proportions had entered the solar system, bypassing all early warning systems. It decelerated with impossible grace, taking up position in high Earth orbit. The ship was like nothing humanity had ever built, a fractal structure that seemed to fold into and out of itself, with no visible propulsion system. It was beautiful, terrifying, and absolutely massive, measuring nearly 5 kilometers from end to end. They could have approached without warning, General Santos said during the emergency session. The fact that they announced themselves suggests diplomatic intent. Elena nodded. The message contains what appears to be a communication protocol. They're inviting dialogue. President Adeyemi looked around the room at Earth's hastily assembled first contact team. "Then we accept their invitation. Dr. Rice, you'll lead the communication effort." When the aliens requested a delegation to board their vessel, the debate was heated but brief. Humanity couldn't afford to appear hostile or frightened. Elena led a team of 7 specialists, a physicist, a biologist, 2 military officers, a diplomat, and a cultural anthropologist, aboard a shuttle that the aliens guided remotely to their massive ship. "Remember," Elena told her team as they approached the alien vessel, "we represent not just our nations but our entire species. Everything we do sets precedent." The docking procedure was smoother than any Earth technology could manage. When the airlock cycled open, they found themselves in a chamber that adjusted before their eyes. The atmosphere, temperature, and gravity shifting to Earth norms. Their hosts called themselves the Hegemony. They were tall, insectoid beings with iridescent exoskeletons and compound eyes that reflected light in hypnotic patterns. Despite their alien appearance, their translated speech was precise and formal. "We welcome the representatives of Earth," said the lead alien, who introduced itself as Nexus Commander Zervex. "Your world has been observed since your first radio transmissions. The time has come for formal evaluation." Elena maintained her diplomatic composure, but she felt a chill at the word evaluation. This wasn't just first contact. It was an assessment. Over the next 3 days, the Hegemony questioned them extensively about Earth's governmental structures, technological capabilities, and military assets. They seemed particularly interested in Earth's defensive systems. "Our planetary defense consists of a network of satellites, ground-based countermeasures, and a small fleet of space vessels," General Santos explained, clearly uncomfortable revealing such information. Commander Zervex's mandibles clicked in what Elena was beginning to recognize as a gesture of disappointment. Primitive, inadequate for Category 3 threats. "Category 3 threats?" Elena inquired. What followed was a briefing on what awaited beyond Earth's solar system. The galaxy, it seemed, was far from peaceful. Among the most dangerous were entities the Hegemony called the Devourers, a collective swarm intelligence that consumed planets, stripping them of all valuable resources and leaving lifeless husks. "The Devourers have detected your transmissions," Zervex stated. "They will arrive within 1 solar cycle of your planet. Without Hegemony protection, Earth will not survive." The team was shown recordings of a Devourer attack, billions of metallic organisms descending on a world, boring into its crust and systematically harvesting everything of value, including biological material. Elena felt physically ill watching the recording. The hegemony offers protection to qualifying worlds, Zervex continued. In exchange for resources and allegiance, we provide defensive fleets and technology. And if we decline? Asked the diplomat. That would be unwise, came the answer. But the hegemony does not force protection on any species. The choice is yours. When they returned to Earth, the terms of the hegemony's offer were presented to the United Nations. The aliens wanted 30% of Earth's rare earth elements, extensive mining rights to the Moon and Mars, and the establishment of 7 hegemony bases across the solar system. In return, they would station a defensive fleet that would intercept the approaching Devourers. This isn't an alliance, President Adeyemi said after reviewing the terms. It's barely better than colonization. But what choice do we have? Countered the European Union representative. You saw what these Devourers do. Elena had been quiet during the debate, analyzing the recordings of all hegemony communications. There was something in their language patterns, something subtle that her translation algorithms had flagged but couldn't contextualize. I need more time, she finally said. There's something they're not telling us. We don't have time, Doctor, General Santos argued. They've given us 3 weeks to decide. Then give me 3 days, Elena insisted. There's a subtext to their communications that I'm missing. Working around the clock, Elena fed every scrap of hegemony communication into her advanced linguistic analysis systems. On the 2nd day, she found it. A recurring phrase in their ship-to-ship transmissions that the translation matrix had interpreted as resource allocation, but carried contextual markers suggesting something closer to tributary evaluation. Further analysis of their quantum communication frequencies revealed a pattern that Elena recognized from Earth's own cryptographic history. They were using a variation of a primitive encryption technique that transmitted one message publicly while hiding another. When she presented her findings to the Security Council, the room fell silent. You're saying they're lying to us? President Adeyemi asked. Not exactly lying, Elena clarified, but they're certainly withholding critical information. The hegemony doesn't just protect worlds from the Devourers. They control the Devourers. Elena displayed the evidence on the main screen. Patterns in Devourer attacks that corresponded with hegemony resource claims, communication signatures that showed direct command protocols between hegemony ships and Devourer swarms. This isn't a protection racket, she concluded. It's extortion on a galactic scale. General Santos stood up. We need to prepare for war. No, Elena countered. We need to prepare, but not in the way they'd expect. I have an idea, but it's going to require a complete rethinking of what planetary defense means. The quantum gambit. Dr. Vikram Kapoor, Earth's leading quantum physicist, listened with growing excitement as Elena outlined her discovery and proposed solution. It's audacious, he admitted when she finished, but theoretically sound. Instead of trying to match their offensive capabilities, which we can't, we create something they've never encountered. Over the next 2 weeks, every major tech company and research institution on Earth pivoted to a single coordinated effort. Satellite launches increased tenfold, but these weren't conventional satellites. Each contained miniaturized quantum entanglement nodes designed to Vikram's specifications. When the hegemony's ambassadors returned for Earth's answer, they were met not with surrender or defiance, but with a request. Earth requires additional time to prepare for integration. President Adeyemi stated formally, we must adapt our infrastructure and resource extraction methods to meet your requirements. Commander Zervex's compound eyes flickered with what might have been suspicion. Such preparation is unnecessary. The hegemony provides all required technology for resource extraction. Nevertheless, the president insisted, Earth's unique geological formations require careful preparation to avoid contamination of the resources you seek. We request 6 months. After brief consultation with their ship, the hegemony reluctantly granted Earth 4 months. No further extensions will be permitted, Zervex warned. The Devourers approach. When we return, you must be ready to accept our protection. As soon as the Hegemony ship departed the solar system, Earth's true preparations accelerated. The satellite network expanded exponentially, with over 10,000 quantum nodes placed in precise orbital configurations. Unlike traditional defense systems, these carried no weapons, no shields in the conventional sense. Traditional thinking would have us build bigger ships, more powerful weapons, Vikram explained during a global broadcast. But we've chosen a different path. Each of these satellites contains a quantum entanglement node that, when activated, becomes part of a solar system-wide quantum field. The theory was revolutionary. Instead of trying to destroy or repel the Devourers, Earth would trap them in a quantum stasis field that would freeze their molecular motion. The entire swarm would be rendered inert, locked in place by the fundamental laws of physics themselves. It's never been attempted at this scale, Vikram admitted. But our simulations show it's viable. 3 months and 28 days after the Hegemony's departure, long-range sensors detected their return. This time, they brought a fleet, 12 massive ships arranged in formation around what appeared to be a containment vessel. Inside that vessel, sensors detected billions of independent metallic organisms, the Devourers. They're not even pretending anymore, Alina observed grimly. They'd brought their weapon with them. The Hegemony ships took up position around Earth, their weapon systems clearly visible and powered. A communication came through on all channels. People of Earth, your time for preparation has ended. The Devourer swarm has been detected approaching your system. Accept Hegemony protection immediately, or we will be forced to withdraw and allow nature to take its course. President Adeyemi stood before the United Nations and delivered Earth's response. The Hegemony's offer is declined. Earth will defend itself. There was a long pause before Commander Zervex responded, mandibles clicking rapidly in what Alina now knew was amusement. Your species shows admirable courage, but misplaced confidence. Without Hegemony protection, you have no defense against what comes. Perhaps a demonstration will clarify your situation. The containment vessel opened, releasing a stream of metallic organisms, just a fraction of the full swarm, but enough to overwhelm Earth's conventional defenses. The swarm accelerated toward Earth like a silver cloud of locusts. They expect us to panic and surrender, Alina said, watching the approaching swarm on the command center's main screen. Wait until they're fully committed. When the swarm crossed the threshold of the outer satellite ring, Vikram gave the command, "Activate Quantum Protocol Prometheus." Across thousands of satellites, quantum entanglement nodes synchronized. A wave of energy rippled through space, invisible to conventional sensors, but fundamentally altering the quantum state of everything within the network's boundaries. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The entire Devourer swarm froze in space, each organism locked in quantum stasis, unable to move at the subatomic level. They hung in orbit like a strange metallic sculpture. On the Hegemony ships, alarms blared. "What have you done?" demanded Zervex, genuine fear in its translated voice for the first time. "We've created a quantum stasis field," Alina replied calmly. "The Devourers are intact but inoperative. They'll remain that way as long as our field is active." "Impossible. Your technology is primitive. You cannot possess such capabilities." "That was your fundamental mistake," Alina said. "You judged us by our ships, our conventional weapons. You never considered that we might approach defense differently. While you were building bigger fleets, we were studying the fundamental nature of reality itself." The Hegemony ships attempted to retreat, but found themselves caught in the outer edge of the quantum field, not completely immobilized like the Devourers, but their advanced propulsion systems were rendered inert. "Release our vessels immediately," Zervex demanded. President Adeyemi stepped forward. "We will, under new terms. The Hegemony will acknowledge Earth as a sovereign, protected world. No resource claims, no bases. Additionally, you will provide full technical data on the Devourers, their weaknesses, their command protocols. And if we refuse, Then you're welcome to remain in orbit as long as you like. Our quantum field can be maintained indefinitely. 3 days later, a new treaty was signed. The hegemony, facing the loss of their most valuable ships and the exposure of their devourer control to other species, agreed to Earth's terms. They even offered technological exchange as a gesture of mutual respect between equals. As Alina watched the hegemony fleet depart, she turned to Vikram with a smile. They came expecting to find a primitive species desperate for protection. Instead, they found something they'd never encountered before. "What's that?" he asked. "A species that turned its greatest apparent weakness into its defining strength." They looked at our lack of massive warships and saw a vulnerability. They should have asked why we didn't need them. In the months that followed, Earth's position in the galactic community transformed. The species that had defeated the Devourers with quantum physics rather than brute force was suddenly of great interest to other civilizations. Trade delegations arrived, cultural exchanges began. And on the quantum network that encircled the planet, a single Devourer organism was kept in stasis. A reminder that humanity's greatest defense had never been the size of its fleet, but the depth of its understanding of the universe and its willingness to imagine solutions beyond conventional thinking. The galactic community had expected Earth to fall in line or fall prey to the horrors of space. Instead, humanity had shown them a third option, one that would change the course of galactic history forever.